Hello there, everybody. I hope you've all had a wonderful work week. So how much do you trust ChatGPT to give your potential customers the accurate and best information about your products and service? Or let me ask the question this way. How much do you trust your company's AI chatbot to give the right information? Or maybe we should ask it this way. On your website, how much unintentionally misleading, fully inaccurate, outdated, or just flat out wrong information still hangs around because you just haven't ever gone out to delete all those old pages and blog posts? I'm guessing the answer in order would be A, yeah, we don't trust ChatGPT. B, we're just thinking about a chatbot. And C, yeah, our website and blog, it's a mess. So we may have just seen the first real ramifications from all this AI chaos this week. A court in Canada has found that Air Canada has to honor a discounted fee that their chatbot promised the consumer. Problem? That discount? It didn't actually exist. Further, Air Canada argued that since their AI chatbot made it up all by itself, they shouldn't be liable. As Pepper Brooks from the movie Dodgeball might say, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. But what does that mean for the rest of us? I mean, as we start to put these conversational tools on our website, what does it mean for the future of search and how consumers use tools like ChatGPT or Gemini to research us? You want to know more? Well, this is a few minutes of what's new in marketing that might help you lead your business strategy. Hey, let's ask ChatGPT of what we should do. Hey, ChatGPT, should we do the news this week? Let's see here. Engaging with the news is essential for staying informed about global and national developments that might affect you directly or indirectly, whether it's political maneuvers. Oh boy, that's long. Well, I, for one, welcome our new AI overlord, so, let's roll. Hello, everybody. Robert Rose here with What's New in Marketing. It is about what's new in marketing, but most importantly, it's something important in marketing that we think will help you become a better marketer. And if we can help you or your team with custom training, with consulting, with content services of any kind, head on over to contentmarketinginstitute.com, fill out the form, and let's have a chat. So I am sure you are filled to the gills with news about generative AI and the collective sigh that seems to be going around marketing teams these days when it comes to meeting the high pressure of doing anything, something to help our work be more efficient. Generative AI seems to be really the only thing we can talk about. Clients are expecting their agencies to use it, but only if it gets them a big discount on services. It's so easy, they seem to be saying. You must be so happy. Boards at startup companies are pressuring their management teams. Where are we on an AI strategy? It's so easy. You should be so happy. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's feeling the pressure as technology advances so quickly. Even Hollywood artists are hedging their bets by looking at the newest developments and saying, do we really want to invest in humans at this point? Well, let's all just take a breath because we're not going anywhere. Let's be super clear about this. AI is not a strategy. It's an innovation looking for a strategy. And last week may have been the first real-world example of that distinction in action. So last week, Air Canada was finally forced to give a refund to a passenger that was misled by the airline's chatbot. The passenger's grandmother passed away and then used the airline's website and integrated chatbot to ascertain whether or not he could retroactively get a refund for a bereavement fare if he had the right paperwork. Now, the chatbot encouraged the passenger to go ahead and book the flight and then request the refund for the difference in the bereavement fare within 90 days. However, the actual policy from Air Canada explicitly states that it will not provide refunds for travel after the flight is booked. But the passenger took the chatbot at its word, took a few screenshots, by the way, and booked the flight, and that's when the fight began. Now, that's an interesting development, but it was really made even more interesting because of the argument that Air Canada made in its defense. Basically, they said, well, we shouldn't be responsible because the chatbot, in the words of the company, was a quote-unquote separate legal entity, and therefore the company, it said, shouldn't be responsible for its actions. Yeah, I seem to remember a similar court defense from my childhood. It's the I'm not responsible, my friends made me do it excuse. And my mom would, of course, respond, well, if they told you to jump off a bridge, would you? My favorite part was when apparently a member of the tribunal who found in favor of the passenger said exactly what my mom would say. In his ruling, he wrote, Air Canada does not explain why it believes why its webpage titled Bereavement Travel is inherently more trustworthy than its chatbot. And that is the interesting thing for all of us dealing with content and AI at the moment must face. Companies are mistaking AI as the strategy to deploy quickly rather than the innovation to a strategy that should already be deployed. AI is not the answer for your content strategy. AI is simply the way to help an existing content strategy be better. We need to remember that generative AI is only as good as the content, the data, the training that is fed to it. Generative AI as it stands right now is a fantastic recognizer of patterns, of understanding the probable next work choice. It's terribly powerful and wonderful, but it's not actually doing any critical thinking. It's not discerning what is real and what is fiction. So think about your website as a learning model for a moment. Those tens of thousands of pages that have been sitting there for years, if that website was a brain, how smart would that brain be about answering questions about the current state of your company? Think of all the help documents in your repository, all the manuals, all the education, all the customer training. And if you poured all of that, and only that, by the way, into an artificial brain and started to ask it questions, would you trust the answers? Now, you might. You might get some great mixed results, some of them great, some of them bad. In the case of Air Canada, of course, this small mistake was small, minuscule, in fact. But imagine if, and it's an if and when, not an if. It's not just mistakes. It's the unintended content that's there. Imagine if it picked up that stray folder in your customer help repository, you know, the one where we all have the snarky answers or where we gossip with each other or where we put all the idiotic responses or the archive of everything that's wrong with our product or safety. AI might not know the difference that you don't want that particular content to be utilized in its learning model. And the public solutions may be the biggest challenge of all. As a test of this, I literally spent 15 minutes just playing around with ChatGPT. I asked AI to give me the pricing of the best known and most used CRM systems out there. Now, I'll let you guess which two it was, but I asked it to compare the pricing and features of the two similar packages and tell me which one might be more appropriate for my needs. Well, it first told me that it can't give me the pricing for either of them, but then footnoted the pricing page for each of them where the pricing is clear as day. I pressed on and I asked it to make a comparison specifically of the two named packages, and it proceeded to get one of the products' pricing completely wrong, too high by 30%. Now, I'm not noting that it's now discounted in the current state versus where it was when ChatGPT looked at it, and still it refused on the other pricing for the other competitor because it says this company does not disclose pricing. But again, footnoted a link to the pricing page where the pricing was actually disclosed right there. Very weird. I did another test where I asked ChatGPT to tell me what was so great about a particular technology company's digital asset management software. Now, I know for a fact that this particular company doesn't have a DAM system, but I asked innocently as if I'd heard it at a conference, which I did, by the way. A conference last week, someone mentioned that this company had a DAM system and recommended it to someone I could overhear. So I said, well, what's so great about their DAM system? And ChatGPT came back and told me it was wonderful, wonderfully replete language, a single source of truth for digital assets that had a great system. What it didn't tell me was that this was paraphrased content from a web page of the company that was talking about a partnership they had with a third-party provider. It wasn't their DAM system, it was the partners, and they were highlighting their ability to integrate into it. Now, I grant you, these are small. I get it. And I should be clear that my quick testing also got some very good answers from my harder questions. But that's what's so insidious about it. If you knew it was always a little wrong, you might be forced to check. But when it's right, it's impressive. So it's almost worse that it's good and bad and unintentionally inaccurate. It belies the trust in the whole system. So this is our lesson from the Air Canada and what will surely be others coming down the road. Remember, AI is not your content strategy. Your content strategy is your content strategy. You still need to audit your content. You still need to understand if it represents your current brand, your thinking, your accuracy. And just as you've done for 24 years, you need to make sure that the entirety of your digital properties, the experiences you create, reflects the values, integrity, accuracy, and trust you're trying to instill in your brand. AI will not do this for you. It cannot know the value of those things unless you give it the value of those things. When you think of AI, think of it as a way to innovate your human-centered content strategy. If content is your communication with all of your stakeholders, then your communication, your story, should always be human. AI is just a means of expressing that communication, that story in different ways, and perhaps a little faster. But only you can know if it's your story. And that, well, that's a few minutes of what's new in marketing. And remember, it's your story to tell. First, you have to create it, value it, and manage it. And then perhaps AI can help you tell it well. I'll see you next week.